So yesterday I made some videos about Deadpool and Wolverine. I made a spoiler and a non-spoiler videos, and in one of the videos I mentioned how Jonathan Majors, Marvel should bring him back as Kang the Conqueror, because Jonathan Majors is a great actor. The whole Avengers 6 thing seems to be at that time sputtering, and to be honest, like he really didn't. His biggest crime was having a crazy girlfriend, and he was running away from her. But they said he was guilty. So that's great. It was crazy. The footage was wild. But yeah, I said that they should bring back Jonathan Majors. So when I said that, I had no idea. Clear across the country, 4 hours later, Robert Downey Jr. was introduced to play Doctor Doom in Avengers Part 6, Doomsday. And the crowd went wild. Now, there's been people for weeks who've been speculating that Robert Downey Jr. was going to play Victor Von Doom. I didn't know all this stuff was going on because I really wasn't paying attention to it. But Robert did mention like a while ago that he would love to come back as Tony Stark and all that stuff. So the news blows up, the crowd goes wild. But the instant reaction to that wasn't as popular as I thought. Like a guy that I like a lot, Tyrone Magnus, he was confused. Like he didn't really understand why Robert, being so tied to the Tony Stark persona, the whole Iron Man thing, would play Doctor Doom. He said it doesn't even make sense, because can you see Robert Downey Jr. in a Marvel movie other than Iron Man and Tony Stark? Probably not. But I can tell you why it might change. And then other people felt like it was desperation on Kevin Feige. He's the guy who runs Marvel. Desperation on his part that he has to bring back Robert Downey Jr. and the Russos to basically save Marvel. Listen, Kevin Feige is doing everything he can to keep his job, and Kevin Feige is doing everything he can to save Marvel. Like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, Marvel was on a streak when Robert was first introduced as Iron Man. They were on a streak where they had way more hits than misses. And in recent times, since Infinity War and Endgame, they've had more misses than hits. Even something like Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it was a hit, but it didn't have the same cultural feel as the first Black Panther. Like, I think if you ask people, would you rather see Black Panther or Wakanda Forever, I think most people would rather see Black Panther because of the connection that we saw with Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan. There's nothing in Wakanda Forever comes close to what those two did together in that movie, and that was a hit. Now, things are being rebooted because Deadpool and Wolverine is such a massive hit, but Kevin Feige is kind of doing what I said, but just he's twisting it around by bringing in Robert and the Russo Brothers. He's saying like, yeah, we need to kind of jumpstart our franchises again, and this is what we're gonna do. Now, there are different variations of Iron Man. There's a lot more evil. You have the infamous, I'm not the infamous. You have the superior Iron Man, which is still Tony Stark. Now, people felt like if he was going to come back as Iron Man, he should come back as the superior Iron Man, where he's still him, but he's evil. But then there's the Doctor Doom Iron Man melding of the infamous Iron Man, where Doctor Doom he becomes Iron Man, and maybe that's where they're going. And Emergency Awesome has a great video covering the whole thing, because they seem to feel like Doctor Doom's going to come from another multiverse, and he's going to enter the MCU. So there's things that can be done in this story. It's not unprecedented what they're doing, because the comic book is saying like, no, there's stories out there that the Russo brothers can use to meld this whole. If he truly is Tony Stark, Iron Man, Doctor Doom melding is possible. However, he could be straight up Doctor Doom. And here's how this can work. Now, I'm a soap opera fan. I've seen many actors play one character on a soap opera and then come back on the same soap and play another character, or they go to another soap, So I've seen actors go on the same soap, play two different characters. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does work. So from a soap fan, I've seen this. From a comic book fan, they said there's no way I can see Robert Downey Jr. and not see him as Doctor Doom, because he's always going to be Iron Man to me. Here's how it can be different. It goes back to Oppenheimer. Chris Nolan wanted Robert Downey Jr. to not be Robert Downey Jr. It was like none of this, like Robert Downey Jr. can be Robert Downey Jr. any day of the week. He is that snappy dude. Again, Ryan Reynolds has that when he plays Deadpool. Like, it's just his personality. Vince Vaughn has that. It's just his personality. So Robert and as Tony Stark, it's just his personality. And Chris Nolan in Oppenheimer, he didn't want any trace of that. He just want Robert to be the very best actor he can be, and not have any trace of Robert in this character. And it wasn't. When you watch Downey in Oppenheimer, there's no trace. You're not sitting there saying, "Oh, there's Tony Stark." Like, no, he is Robert Downey Jr. Thespian. And I think if Robert is playing Dr. Doom, he's playing Victor Von Doom, and he's not playing a melding of Iron Man and Doom. If he's just playing Doom and he's playing it how he played his character in Oppenheimer, I think it'll work. I really do. I really do, because after a while you start realizing, oh, he's not playing Stark. Like, no, he's playing a maniacal villain. This is different. Like, and I think, to be honest, I think Robert Downey at this point, as much as he loves playing Tony Stark, and he could play Tony Stark for the rest of his life if he wanted to, with the aging on film, he can do it. But I think what he learned from Oppenheimer is he still has stuff in the tool bag as an actor that he hasn't used enough. And maybe maybe he wants to just play non-Stark Victor Von Doom. And if that's the case, that'll be fantastic, because he'll be totally different playing him. Now, if he's playing the melding of Stark and all that stuff, I think that'll work too, because it's in the comic book. The person. I feel like Jonathan Majors actually should get a co-executive producer credit for the next two Avenger films, because if he didn't have that crazy girlfriend who got him in trouble, we wouldn't be in this mess. Now he was trending on X because they said he fumbled the bag. Like, listen, I think if Majors knew that his girlfriend would flip out on him like that, I think he would have dumped her a long time ago. Yes, if Jonathan Majors used the portal from Doctor Strange doing this and came back, say, "Hey, bro, your girlfriend is crazy. Drop her now because she's going to mess up your bag," then I think he would have dropped her. But he had no idea that she was going to freak out that way and then say that he abused her, even though there's been no evidence that he did anything. Like, all the videos that she's shown, she was perfectly fine. In fact, she chased him down the street, and then she fled the country. She actually fled the country, and they had to bring her back for the trial. But they still said guilty. It's like, what? So I think with Jonathan Majors, I think it's still going to be a while. I think he signed up. He's going to be doing some movie pretty soon. But I think it's going to be a while before we see him in a big time movie again. I think it will happen again because he's so talented as an actor. But it's going to be a minute to see Jonathan Majors. But I think because of his talent, as the years go by, I think he'll be back, because there wasn't really any evidence against him. But yeah, I would, if I'm him, I would like to have a co-executive producer credit, just because if he didn't get in all that trouble, we wouldn't have Robert Downey in this situation. But even if things were all cool with Majors, I don't know if Avengers 6 would have been super successful. Because again, Robert was gone, Chris Evans was gone, Tom Holland probably would have been in Avengers, but there's a lot of people, Black Widow was dead. Like, there's a lot of people. I mean, Chris Hemsworth still hasn't re-signed with Marvel, I don't think. So I don't know how the Avengers team would have been. And even though I really felt like Jonathan Majors was great as Kang, he was great as he who remains, he was great on both seasons of Loki, playing the variations of Kang. I don't know if Majors, even as great as he is as an actor, would have delivered the box office, especially if you have a new Avengers team. This way, with Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, no matter what happens, people are going to be talking about this for the next 2 years, because you don't know what the story is going to be. You don't know if he's playing just Victor Von Doom. You don't know he's playing a variant of Tony Stark as Dr. Doom. Like, you don't know these things. And wherever they're filming, there are going to be people staked out trying to see who he's dressed as, what he's up to. There's so many things involved with Avengers 6 and 7 that's going to be filmed back to back with the Russo brothers. This is probably the most anticipated film in the next few years. Like, you have Joker 2 coming out. You have the Batman 2 coming out. And I think then you have Avengers. But even with those films, I think the specter of Robert Downey Jr. back in the Marvel Universe, in whatever storyline that he's doing, the Russo brothers, is just going to be great fodder for entertainment and comic book geeks all over the place. So in some ways, Kevin Feige has won the PR machine part of it. He has bought the anticipation side of it. And I trust the Russo brothers. Like, the Russo brothers just don't miss. again, Winter Soldier, Civil Wars, Endgame, Infinity War. When it comes to Marvel films, these cats don't miss because they do their research, and these guys are great storytellers. And I don't think Robert, well, like Avengers 2 and 3 was a mess, especially 3. It wasn't that great, but he's always great. No matter what Robert's in, he's great. So I think overall, I think this is a good move because we don't know what's going to happen. And even if the movie turns out to be crap, which I don't think it will be, even if it's crap, I think enough people will fill the seats to see what exactly is Avengers 6 in 2026. What is this movie going to be? So the initial box office is going to be through the roof because you don't know. And if it's close to anything the Russo Brothers has done before, Part 7 will be equally as good too. And this actually helps Fantastic Four because even with the casting of Fantastic Four, it's not a bad cast. It's just people just don't like the placement of the actors, right? People, it's like, oh, Pedro Pascal is Reed Richards. I don't know. But because of the Doctor Doom element in this, because he's part of the Fantastic Four, you don't know, people would probably go see Fantastic Four to see if Doom's in it, if Robert is in it as Doom, if there's a post-credit scene that leads to the Avengers films. So even with all this stuff with Robert at Comic-Con and Feige and the Russo Brothers, it helps the Fantastic Four films. So from a marketing PR standpoint, for a buzz standpoint, brilliant move by Kevin Feige. Now they just all have to deliver.